Hi there, VC. Happy New Year. I hope everyone's well and is looking forward to 2021 with being positive, looking forward rather than looking back at what a terrible year 2020 was. I'm going to be recording two videos today, but the first one, this one, is the annual Vinyl Tag 2021. This is where 20 you answer 20 questions that have been set. Andrew Tales from the Crate set these questions. He normally sets the questions up, and and I do thank him for that because it's got to be difficult to think of 20 questions unless you've been doing it all 2020. And it's just a great, just a great way just for people to show off their collections. It's always interesting to watch. I do recommend, if you haven't watched Vinyl Tag videos, just to watch a few of them. So, 20 questions. So, first one, question one, a discovery in 2020. Film Music. This is their album Making a New World, which was released pretty early in 2020. I was aware of the name, but I'd not heard the band, and brought this album on the basis that quite a few people were raving about it. It's an album about post-war Britain or post-war Europe. I think, to be honest, if I remember rightly. Really good album. I think it got trouble is when you release an album so early in the year, it does tend to sometimes get forgotten at the end of year polls. Question two, a quarantine buy. Now, I tried to, fortunately Pete in my local shop was doing like crate digs every Saturday during lockdown, but there were times where I thought I'd have a go on Discogs, and one such album I purchased, and it was purely because I'd had difficulty finding the album. It's Journey's self-titled debut album. Journey, released in 1975. I got a compilation which got some of the tracks on. I did have a download, but it was nice to have something physical. I'd never actually owned a physical copy of this album, so yeah, really pleased to have found that. Question three, an LP that you want to find in 2021. I'd like to find an official copy of Badfingers Straight Up. This is a bootleg. You can tell from the cover's a bit, and instead of Apple, it's on Round Records of I think it was America, Minnesota or something like that. So yes, it would be nice to find an official copy of that. Whatever it be, it's not a bad sounding record. It just, I think when they mastered it, towards the end they mastered it off a tape, and I think maybe the tape may have been sounded a bit dodgy towards the end. Serves me right. Question four, a box set. I don't own many box sets, primarily because I don't really have the space, but I did treat myself last birthday, and I brought myself the Bowie at the Bee box sets. 4 records are basically Bowie recordings at the BBC up to really 1972, I think, yeah. So a lot of stuff in concerts with John Peel comparing, and then sort of radio sessions really that takes from really the hunky-dory Ziggy Stardust period. Really interesting artifact because it developed the sound. BBC sessions were important for bands because it meant that they could play live on air, but also it was some. It was just a way of promoting themselves. Recently, a lot of stuff from the BBC archives is now getting released. It is interesting to dig out. Put that back in there. Right, a quick slurp. That's better. Tea in the morning. Question 5, a concept album. That's Rush's final album, Clockwork Angels. Like all good, probably good concept albums, I think Neil Peart, when he wrote the lyrics, wanted a thread, and the band, particularly Alex Lifeson, was saying, no, it's not a concept album. But as they were getting more into the recording of it, Neil Peart sort of said, yeah, it is a concept. Don't know, I couldn't tell you what it's about. Like all good concept albums. Proved to be their final album, released in 2012. I think June the 12th, 2012, was my birthday. There you go. Question 5, an album, or was it question 6? An album where an artist changed direction. I've gone plumped for The Cult, Electric. You listen to Love. It is a rock album, but it's very much gothy, sort of a goth album. Where this was the second attempt to record it, actually. To tried it with Tim Palmer, they weren't happy, so they went off, and Rick Rubin produced it. And this is a very raw rock album, and it was the formula they took on to Sonic Temple and Ceremony, I think. So yeah, a band since disowned this album, I believe. Question 7, white label promo. I haven't got any white label promos. I don't really go out my way to find them, to be quite honest. And if I do come across them, it's usually from artists I've never heard of, or that don't really have any value at all. What I do have, though, is quite an interesting demo record, not for sale. And this is Electric Light Orchestra, Roll Over Beethoven, released in 1972. This version never actually got released. It got withdrawn. It's partly to do the B-side, which is Manhattan Rumble 49th Street Massacre. And I can only think, I haven't really done that much research. As I said, released in 1972. It may have something to do with, I think it got pulled, this version got pulled because of the Olympic Games massacre, the Israeli athletes in Munich. That had happened, and I think the authorities were a bit. I think the record company might have been a bit touchy about it. It was a touchy subject, so it got released with a different B-side, and it went to number 6 in the charts. But this version I've got here is like the original version that was meant to go out. I think Hawkwind got stuck with that as well, because they released Urban Gorilla as the follow-up to Silver Machine, and it sort of the radio stations wouldn't play it, basically. A compilation album. Now this is an album I showed you not so much long back. It's Nottingham Castle Rock, and this is a compilation that came out around 1972, 71, 72, limited edition, and it was put together by Ashley Franklin, or something to do with BBC Radio Nottingham. And this is a compilation that was highlighting Nottingham acts at that time. So it's the Nottingham Festival Fringe. And there you go, Robin Hood's there, someone's nicked it again. So you got bands like Odeus, Autumn Design, Centurious, Dave Rossiter and Friends, Moonlight Drive, Cisco, Down to Earth, Gaffer, and Satan's Vomit. So you could gather what sort of music was being played. This is a really good little compilation album, a product for his time, but it's. I don't know if you would find it, but I'm sure that it might be on YouTube or something. Next question. An album that tells a story, and And when I saw this question, I thought, when I saw the list on Andrew's video before I watched the video, I thought, well, you've mentioned a concept album, but it's not an album that tells a story. It's how you got the album, the story of that, which makes it a lot easier. And the album, this is a twofer. I've explained this before, early in the year, just before lockdown, beginning of March, the first lockdown. Went to the Moseley Record Fair, and in something like a couple of pound bins, I found this, which is Procol Harum's Shine On Brightly. And I looked at the back, and I looked at the back cover, and you can see there, that doesn't look right. And looked at the back, and if you look at the back, it goes 2 for 10. And it was like, oh, this is it's somebody's cut up a twofer. And apparently, it does happen. Record dealers do get a twofer, and they'll cut it up and sell it as individual albums. And the album, it should have been with Home. It just so happened, I saw a copy of Home in the charity shop where I work, in Oxfam where I work. And this is said album, Procol Harum, so I brought it. Thought, I'll just complete it. What I didn't realise until I looked at it is 2 for 10. It's a half a twofer. And lo and behold, you put them together. I think you put them together like that. I've got the twofer back. Now, whether it is the same twofer, I don't know. I would like to think it is, but it's just a coincidence. I've ended up individually buying a twofer, buying the two albums separately for the twofer. Probably spent a lot more than it probably would have been worth. Next question. An album that needs a vinyl pressing. Well, it's anything by this band that needs a vinyl pressing. It's the Broken Family Band. This is their album Balls. This is absolutely... They were a wonderful band. I used to see them a heck of a lot, early 2000s. They were basically... I wouldn't call them an amateur band, but they had day jobs, so they did gigs at weekends. But they were very popular at festivals. They do the festivals over the summer. Mark Lamar was very into them. That's how I got into them, and really were good. Best track on this one is You're Like a Woman. They've got videos up on YouTube. They did split up in the end, which was a shame. I don't think you can get anything on there of theirs on vinyl. It'd be nice if they could put maybe this on vinyl. Really worth checking out if you've never heard of them. Broken Family Band. A common album and a uncommon album. See this heck of a lot. Charity shops, records, second-hand record stores, ABBA the album. And an album you don't see too often. I could have shown many actually. This is Alexis Corner's All Stars Stroke Blues All Incorporated album. On this, issued on Transatlantic. You don't see that often. An EP and Therapy, Face the Strange EP, 12-inch. Showing this because later this month, the reissue of Troublegum, possibly their best album, is coming out. Which looking forward to that. A girl group. First thing that came to my head, and it probably came into most people's head, Bangles. But people have shown others, and I found I have some. Slits cut their debut album from '79. Yes, with the sleeve caked in mud. Yes, they're released on Ireland, produced by Dennis Bovell. There you go. An album cover you love. I played this yesterday, and it's Ramones' self-titled first album. the reason I love this album cover so much, it just epitomises what I think of a group. It's a gang. You can see if you took the fact it was just a photo on its own without the saying Ramones, you just think it's a gang photo. It's just simple. It's basically says what it is. It's the Ramones. An album you've listened to the most. It's a tough one, this is, because I, like a lot of people, I sort of disposed of my vinyl, and then I've come back to it, and obviously some of the albums I didn't I listened to that are gone now, but one of these such albums, but I reckon it's the one I've listened to most, primarily because it was one of the first albums I ever bought. You tend to listen to, if you only have a couple of albums, you tend to just listen to them, so they end up being listened to, but by default, almost in a way. And it's ELO's Face the Music. I had this on green vinyl. And I brought it. I had some money on my 14th birthday, and so I brought it. And yeah, I listened to this. It's got Evil Woman and Strange Magic, the two best known tracks, the two singles. It's a good album. Good album, worth checking out if you've never heard it. An album you had to get an OG copy of. I don't really go out my way to go for an OG copy of album. Sometimes they'll fall into my lap, and one such album which I recently picked up is debut Fleetwood Mac album, which released on the Blue Horizon label. There you go. Not the cleanest album, but it plays. You know, you clean it up and it plays. That's you know, and I get enjoyment out of listening to it. So yeah, that's the album. But as I say, I don't really. Maybe it's what I'm saying is heresy. I don't really go out my way for original pressings. If I see an album I want that, would like that in my collection, I'll buy it. I can always upgrade. That's how I view it. If I see an original. Right, the last album you purchased. I'd like to thank my niece Rebecca and her family. They gave me an Amazon token for Christmas, and with that, I purchased Rory Gallagher's Against the Grain. Slowly building up my Rory Gallagher collection. This is I think a 2018 reissue. And yeah, that was an album I was looking for some time, and yeah, that was my last album I purchased. An album they don't get. Right, that's quite easy. Band don't even get it. It's Kiss the Elder. I keep showing this, I keep playing it. Album that was important to me when I was 16. Played it a lot. You know, got rid of it. To me, the only version, I know the CD reissue changed all the it put order, but I just love the album on record as it is. It's to me a great album. Yeah, if you don't like it, sod you. 19, a punk album. The Damned. Excellent. Must be played loud at low volume. Damned had the first punk single, and this is pretty much one of the first UK punk albums as well. Neat. New Rose. I Feel Alright. It's just a classic punk album. And the final question 20, favourite 2020 reissue. If you saw my last video where I listed the top five albums and top 5 reissues, this came in at number 1. Tom Petty's Wildflowers and all the rest. It's an album I was aware of, but I saw it and I thought, you know what, I'll take a punt on it. Tom Petty's a bit of a hole in my vinyl collection, so there you go. I won't say too more about it. There you go. That's my 20 questions answered. Thanks again, Andrew, for that. Yes, it's interesting times. Hopefully, I know the UK VC, our plan is that we're going to meet up in Newcastle. hopefully this year. So to do a bit of crate digging. Yes, it's all strange. So yeah. If you want to follow what I listen to, I tend to post on I post on Instagram a lot. My Instagram is Stevo Stevo 120665. That's Stevo 120665. I also post on Facebook as Steve Whitty. If you're new to my channel, especially if you're watching vinyl tag videos and you stumble across it because I mentioned it in the title, feel free to subscribe. A bit more the merrier. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Please leave a comment if you want to, and I'll get back to you. So hopefully 2021 we'll see a few changes in me with the VC. I think lost a little bit of interest. I admit, but I've really got feel an urge to get back into it. So anyhow, VC, whatever you get up to this weekend, make sure it's a good one. Take care of yourselves. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep smiling.